Another episode of The Bad Batch is out, and it's everything we could have hoped for. Per usual, there will be spoilers for the episode in this video, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, go do so. That's an order, trooper. This week's Bad Batch episode gave us a little bit of everything. We got some nice backstory on Omega, we got to see more action from Cad Bane, who we will henceforth refer to exclusively as Mr. Bane, but most importantly, we got to understand the Kaminoans' angle a bit more. After the series premiere, we speculated on whether the Bad Batch was shaping up to feature a Kaminoan clone rebellion plotline. Now that we're 8 episodes deeper into the show, we've got a bit more to say about that, especially in light of another surprising revelation. There's a schism in the Kaminoan ranks. In this video, we'll be talking about all this and more.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
So first things first, let's talk about Omega, or rather Omega. We finally got some information about why she's so special, and thank the Force, it's not because she's Force sensitive. Rather, it's because she was apparently Boba Fett's sister, so to speak. She had DNA that's closer to Jango Fett's than the Kaminoans' degraded samples or the already modified genetic material present in the clones. It's a bit confusing that this was the case despite her being an altered clone, but hey, we're not geneticists, so we'll assume the Kaminoans knew more about this than we do. At any rate, this reveal may have seemed pretty mundane for how much they were hyping up Omega, but it was actually pretty huge. The fact that the Kaminoans wanted Omega back for her genes means that they want to grow better clones, and they're likely not looking to grow them for the Empire. After all, the Empire had no idea that the Kaminoans' genetic samples were degraded in the first place, and they probably wouldn't have cared about clone quality. The Kaminoans in turn wouldn't have cared much about getting them better clones. Since the Empire was the only major geopolitical power in the galaxy at that point, this means the only ones the Kaminoans would have wanted to grow those superior clones was for themselves. You probably don't need us to tell you why the Kaminoans wanted a clone army. Anyone who's played classic Battlefront 2's campaign knows the answer. This is further evidence that the Kaminoan clone rebellion is just around the corner. Our bet is that the Kaminoans wanted Omega because she could give them an edge in the fight against the Empire. Clearly, she's the key to making better Fett clones, with her superior DNA and all. Whether the Kaminoans wanted to use her genes just to make better troopers, to make an army of Bad Batch-esque mutated clones, or perhaps to make pure Fett ARC Trooper style clones is anyone's guess at this point. No matter what the eugenics dinos were looking to grow, however, it's a fair bet at this point that they wanted them to fight back against the Empire with. They seemed like they were getting pretty hasty about it too. This makes sense. Clearly, the Empire wasn't looking to keep the Kaminoan contracts for much longer by the time of this past episode, and the Kaminoans probably wanted to get the party started before they faded into irrelevance. Lama Su, Nala Se, and the late Ton Wei all seemed like they were under a fair bit of stress, and as we all know, stress can create fractures. This brings us to our next topic of discussion, the schism in Kaminoan ranks. None of the Kaminoans like the Empire, that's for sure. Each seems committed to whatever way they plan to fight back, but when it comes to Omega, a split seems to have formed in the Kaminoan ranks. Lama Su's side seems to have seen Omega as a means to an end, nothing more. But Nala Se seems to have been much more compassionate to the young clone. As we mentioned in the video we released after the series premiere, the Kaminoans didn't dislike the Empire because it was evil or anything. They cared about preserving their cloning industry and saw the Empire's dislike of the Grand Army of the Republic as a serious threat to their way of life. Lama Su and those working with him like Ton Wei were out to keep their business intact, no matter what the cost was. It was the sort of cold hard logic that the Kaminoans usually employed. Let's not forget that these guys were total sociopaths who treated their clones horribly after all. But Nala Se was always softer than the average Kaminoan. From her first appearance in Star Wars The Clone Wars, she made it clear that she genuinely cared about the clones. This is why she had been assigned to the Khalida Shoals medical station, and it was also why she refused to leave the station when General Grievous threatened to destroy it with the malevolence in her first appearance. It's hard to tell how deep her care for the clones actually runs, but she inarguably cared considerably more than most Kaminoans did. Lama Su actually pointed out Nala Se's unusual compassion during the episode and it seemed suspect that it would cause her to interfere in the recapture of Omega. Omega appears to have been Nala Se's personal project, as the young clone was originally assigned to be her lab assistant, and Nala Se was clearly very protective of her. It's doubtful that Lama Su or the other Kaminoans knew how deeply Nala Se cared for Omega, since Kaminoans considered emotion sharing a taboo act, which also means that Nala Se was probably on her own in this new Kaminoan schism. Mostly. Today's episode also featured a nice little fight between Mr. Bane and Fennec Shand, and it may have been the opening skirmish of whatever Kaminoan internal conflict is brewing. Lama Su likely didn't know about Nala Se's treachery or that she had hired Fennec to her own ends, but now it's only a matter of time before he figures it out. With Tornway dead and Fennec openly working against Mr. Bane, who Lama Su hired, word is bound to get to Topoka City eventually. We should also take a moment to note that Lama Su briefly mentioned last episode that he hired multiple bounty hunters to retrieve Omega. Mr. Bane wasn't the only hunter on the job, and who the others were is currently a mystery. Who knows? Perhaps we'll see Aura Singh make a return, or Embo. Odds are that it wasn't Boba Fett or any of the bounty hunters that worked with him, of course, since the Kaminoans would have just forgotten Omega and taken Fett if they had the chance. At any rate, we might see some more familiar faces from the Clone Wars pop up quite soon. Is Dave Filoni giving us a full remake of that one scrapped bounty hunter arc? Come to think of it, the original Clone Wars arc planned to feature Cad Bane working to rescue a captured young girl, so maybe we're onto something here. Tangent aside, it's anyone's guess how these bounty hunters could factor into the Kaminoan Schism or the Clone Rebellion. Perhaps Lama Su will send Mr. Bane to take out Nala Se. Perhaps he planned to hire him to serve as a sort of commander for the rebel clones, sort of how Dirge worked with the Separatists. Only time will tell. One thing is for certain, however, Kamino is beginning to boil over, and one last battle on the Cloners' world is probably coming. As a final note, it's nice to see that the Bad Batch is taking a new direction with its plot and not just filling in the blanks for other Star Wars stories. We had feared that Omega was going to be some sort of shoehorned link to the sequels or something of the sort, or that everything was going to tie in with The Mandalorian somehow. But just because the Bad Batch shares a franchise with those other stories doesn't mean it can't be distinct from them. So far, it has been. And with Omega's significance explained in an interesting and original way, we're hoping it's going to remain that way. So that's our look at what those dastardly Kaminoans were up to in the Bad Batch. But what do you think? Do you have any good theories yourself of what's going to happen next? Let us know all that and more in the comment section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.